This regular meeting of the Detroit Lake City Council is called to order, and I'd like to invite all of you to please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The minutes of the regular city council meeting held July 10th, 2018 are before the council. Is there anyone in the council or any member of the audience that wishes to make any changes or corrections to the minutes? If not, I would entertain a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Seconded. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the regular city council meeting held July 10th, 2018. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The consent agenda is before the council, and all items with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or a citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered separately in its normal sequence on the agenda. Is there anyone in the audience or any member of the council that wishes to either remove or add an item to the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'd like to remove 8C and 8D from consent agenda, please.
Okay. Any other changes? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with those two items removed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. At this time, I'm going to call on Chief Todd to come forward, and he's got some presentations and recognitions, and I will come down and assist you if I could. But I'll turn it over to the chief.
I don't see names here, but I'll check this out. I just want this stuff. Officer Stephens, Lieutenant Ingham, Mr. Wright, and then anybody from St. Mary's EMS, could you come forward, please? Maybe go stand up by the mayor. This way. Stand by the mayor. I'm going to read the citation here, Mr. Mayor, if that's okay. On April 20th, 2018 at 12:36 p.m., Detroit Lakes Police Officer Joe Stephens responded to a motor vehicle crash on Highway 10 at East Shore Drive. Minnesota State Patrol Lieutenant Mike Ingham also responded and arrived first on scene. Lieutenant Ingham discovered that the victim's vehicle had crashed into a tree. The driver's side of the car was tilted downwards in about 2 feet of water. The driver was not responsive. The car doors were locked and the driver's foot was on the accelerator. Lieutenant Ingham gained access to the vehicle by breaking the glass on the passenger side rear window. He checked the pulse of the driver and found no pulse, and he was not breathing. Ingham shut off the vehicle to prevent further movement or increased risk of fire. Officer Joe Stephens arrived on scene, and together with Lieutenant Ingham, they removed the driver from the vehicle and laid him flat on the ground. Lieutenant Ingham and Officer Stephens connected an AED, or an automated external defibrillator, to the driver's chest and began the CPR process. The AED analyzed the patient and advised for a shock to be delivered. This occurred 3 times before the AED advised CPR to be started. The officers administered 4 cycles of CPR, and the AED advised a 4th shock delivery. St. Mary's Essentia EMS arrived on scene and took over care of the driver/patient. Paramedics Randy Athman, Jacob McGowan, Tony Tim, and EMTs Darcy McCulloch and Manoa Anderson all arrived on scene to provide care. The patient was defibrillated several more times by EMS. An advanced airway was placed, and the patient was found to be having STEMI, which is ST elevation myocardial infraction. The patient regained pulses and was transported to St. Mary's Hospital in Detroit Lakes prior to being flown to Fargo for further care in the cardiac catheterization lab. The driver's name is Gary Wright Jr. He resides in Perham and works in Detroit Lakes. I spoke with him in depth, and he informed me that he has no recollection of the events related to the crash. In fact, he doesn't remember anything during the 4-day period following the crash. Gary stated he was informed by his physician that his heart stopped, and both he and his physician believed that without the CPR and the AED process, he would not be alive today. Gary stated he was informed he received 6 shock cycles from AED. Gary has resumed life and still works in Detroit Lakes. He is grateful for the service of Officer Joe Steffens, Lieutenant Mike Ingham, the paramedics Randy Othman, Jacob McGowan, Tony Tim, and EMTs Darcy McCulloch and Manoa Anderson. And he believes they are all deserving of life-saving awards for their performance. I concur. In honor of the performance of all of these first responders, they are being awarded with the Life-Saving Award from the City of Detroit Lakes and the Detroit Lakes Police Department. Thank you.
The award reads Detroit Lakes Police Department Life-Saving Award. This award is presented to, in this case, Officer Joe Steffens, in recognition for your life-saving efforts of Mr. Gary Jr. on April 20th, 2018. Good job. Good job.
Well, I guess, like I said, I don't remember much, but talking with Todd, and it's like, if you guys weren't there, I thought we wouldn't be here, so. Sorry. But I got a little thank you cards, you guys appreciate it. Yeah.
I'll do that for you. Thank you. Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations. Good job.
And Chief, you'll have to get those other awards to the other folks then, right? Yep. At this time, the co-admirals of the 83rd Northwest Water Carnival, Natalie Bly and Andy Castagneri, would like to appear before the council. So Andy and Natalie. Hi. Welcome.
Thank you for having us. We just wanted to say thank you to you all. And extend that to the city staff and the community for another great water carnival. Everything went fantastic. We had great attendance. We had perfect weather. I think it largely went uneventful and was mostly safe. So not uneventful in that way, but uneventful in a bad way. And mostly safe. So I think it was a great time.
Yeah, thanks again. If it weren't for all of you guys, it wouldn't be possible. And thanks to our DLJC's team, together with 10 days and 65 plus events, that would not be possible without all of them and all of you. So again, thank you.
Well, thank you, and I thought it was a great water carnival. So,
Turned out very well.
good job. So do we have new admirals for next year?
We do our 84th,
So with that, we introduce Matt Kelly and
Brian Anderson.
Okay. You gonna be able to top this year?
Yep.
Okay. I like your attitude.
We just want to continue the tradition and keep it going.
Good deal.
And we want all of your help, and we hope everybody participates and shows up for all of our events.
Well, we certainly look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to the JCs for what you guys do too.
Yeah, thank you.
Much appreciated.
Without objection by the council, I want to move a public hearing up, under the public hearings, item E. So at this time, I'll adjourn the regular meeting and call to order a public hearing to receive public comments on the proposed vacation of the utility easements between lots 13 and 14 of Pleasant Acres 3 at 351 and 355 Homestead Street. And Larry, could I call on you to preface this item, please?
Well, when you read that introduction, that pretty much covers it. We're vacating a utility easement between lots 13 and 14 in Pleasant Acres 3. It's at 355 Homestead Street, and basically we're vacating the south half of the utility easement. It's not needed, and it will enable the owner to build on the lot.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that has any questions or wishes to speak to the issue? Come on up, sir. And if you would just identify yourself and your address for our minutes, please.
Yeah, my name is Bob McTaggart,
Okay, Bob.
Represents the Detroit Lake Seventh Adventist Church. We are adjacent to this request. Also with me is Pastor Fred Cole from the church and his brother Tom.
Okay.
The question I have is if you abate this or vacate, how are you going to get back to this property in the future with any kind of utilities? What's your access to there?
I'm gonna have Larry answer that if you would.
The
please.
easement up to the street is still in place, and there's no need to get back at that particular spot with any easement for utilities.
There'll be nothing there in the future that you need to go there for?
Any other questions, Bob?
I think our questions are answered.
Okay, thank you. Hearing no other questions or comments from the audience, is there any member of the council that has a question or comment? Otherwise, that public hearing is closed, and I would entertain a motion.
Okay, the Community Development Committee reviewed this for consideration to the resolution approving the vacating utility easements between lots 13 and 14 of Pleasant View Acres 3. The committee recommends, and I so move.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the proposed vacation of the utility easements between lots 13 and 14 of Pleasant Acres 3. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. Without objection, I'd like to move to agenda item 6B under the Public Works, and I would call on Alderman Sherman. Jay?
We had a discussion regarding prohibiting bikes at Greater Sucker Creek. Public Works Committee recommends going with the Park Board's recommendation of denying, limiting bicyclists at this Upper Sucker Creek, or Greater Sucker Creek. The grant was received, we received grant money which included the use of bicyclists and bike paths, and so that's why we recommend denying not allowing bikes on the property. Hello.
So we're going to uphold the recommendation of the Park Board. Okay.
Yes, sir. And I so move.
Second it.
Okay, there's a motion, a second on the table. I know Sally's here and Ruth, you came for this item, and so I'll certainly open it up if you have any questions or comments you want to make. Ruth, go ahead.
Ruth Soley. I just got back to town, and so I was not able to comment earlier in the proceedings.
Sure.
I just wanted to express my great appreciation for the city parks and recreation areas that we have. They are fabulous, and they are varied, and they're everywhere, and I enjoy them a great deal, and my dog does too. We live close to People's Park, and to see that use all year round grow is terrific. The Washington City Park is always fun. The beach, the dog park has been particularly fun for us. Most of these parks have distinctions about them, and we spend a lot of time at Sucker Creek. And I have a couple of just basic questions and concerns about having bicycles in the upper portion. I think, one, that it's a little confusing if you don't allow it in the lower part, but in the upper part, as I understand that's the proposal. I'm out there all year long, and we have often met bikes. My other concern is that it's dangerous, especially if you meet me and my dog, because we're usually doing two different things, and he's on a long leash, and a bicyclist would get him very excited and me excited if I didn't see the bicyclist first. Plus, the paths are not very wide, and the marsh walks are definitely not very wide, and I don't think people and bikes would mix well on those. And third, I think that if it is allowed, if bikes are allowed, it's a very short path. It's not really that exciting for bikelists, I don't think. Because the joys of Sucker Creek are the subtleties, the plants and the animals. We've seen skunks and deer and pileated woodpeckers, and kids play in the creek, and the science classes go out, and it's something you enjoy just by poking around and walking through it and taking it in. It's a short path. Bicyclists, I'm not sure that, given all the other places bikes can go for really, like on the Pelican River, Dunton Locks area, those are better places. Sucker Creek is just pretty special, and to have it in one part of that park but not in the other part, I think is confusing, dangerous, and possibly expensive. So, thank you.
We appreciate your comments. Thanks, Ruth. Sally?
I'm going to take a little more time.
You're going to keep this within 45 minutes, right?
Huh? I think so.
I mean, we did hear you this afternoon, so if you
I
could...
think this, yeah, I did. I think this is probably my last hurrah. So I do want to thank you ever so much for the years that I have spent working on this and zeroing in on the pristine. I would urge both the Public Works and Park Boards to spend more time in there, because this is such a special place, Greater Sucker Creek. 117 acres, and we've got woodland, prairie, wetlands, stream, mineral springs, all in 117 acres. Treat it with care. When we were planning this, it was kind of interesting. The education is the multi-use that we make of this. And the education can be the study of ecology, animals, water, native vegetation, insects and pollinators. Don't forget that if we start losing our pollinators, we're losing our fruit, because it takes pollinators to pollinate our fruit trees. So that's a national issue. If we allow bikes in there, which it sounds like you're gonna, it becomes larger footprints. I urge you to at least have the limitation of the handicapped accessible path and those too narrow marsh walks that are 5 feet wide when specs call for 10 feet. But I urge you to limit bicycles to the handicapped accessible path, because the minute they go off into the mulch paths, then they are treading on certain vegetation that more of us know, but not the ones on the park board and Public Works so much. In the acquisition of the preserve, I have to tell you this kind of a cute story. Roy after we acquired it in 2001, the preserve, Roy Estes and I tried to figure out, oh my God, what do we do now? Because neither of us knew anything much about the environment. So we gathered together a committee of scientists, and they met in that room. And they met again, and they met again, and at one point, Rich Grabo, who had Kelsey's room, said, I don't think you're ever going to get done arguing about this. I said, oh yeah, we'll make it. And we did. But it took those professional scientists some time to landscape properly the preserve. We even got, and I'm sure you don't remember this, we got the college drafting students involved, and they competed in groups to see which surveys would be most acceptable to the scientists. So that was, what I'm saying is that preserve was very specifically developed. Now, scene 2 coming to upstream, that was, and incidentally, it's Greater Sucker Creek and there are 2 parcels under it, one's preserve and one's upstream. And upstream is upstream because it's got mineral springs. But when we came to upstream, there were no scientists that were invited in. Hence, upstream is not as scientifically developed as the preserve has been. Scientists also wrote the bulk of the DNR Parks and Trails grant, and no mention was made of bicycles until the last paragraph that Brad Green wrote. I found out that we did compete better because we were not saying bicycles in the grant. Had we said bicycles, the competition would have been more intense. I'd like to tell you about the walkers that I see in Sucker Creek. I go there and pick up the trash, by the way, in the preserve. I don't pick it up at upstream because I tell the city guys there was a garbage can there, and of course there's satellites, and so I don't go there, but I do go and pick it up in the preserve, so I see it pretty often, and there's always somebody there, and I have to go up to them and tell them welcome to Sucker Creek, and some of them wonder if I'm, what is she gonna do to me? And I go up there and say thank you for coming, and then I ask why, and then I ask if you want bikes, and to a person they've all said no. Walking visitors, I'll tell you what they seek, as I sought this same thing when I was working in Minnetonka. If I didn't have that University of Minnesota Arboretum next to me practically, I would have been considerably more stressed out on my stressful job. Walking visitors there seek shelter from the stress of the day. If you're stressed out for the day, think about going over to Sucker Creek and walk through it. The serenity there, you can pick up on that. The spirituality, I've picked up on that. And close up, you get a close-up chance looking at nature's gift and perhaps a trout fishing opportunity. Now, I think the groups, of course, that I have made sure got there were nursing homes, because my mother was in Emmanuel for a long time, churches, newlyweds, like their pictures taken there, college classes, and right now we've got that spectacular high school field trip coming up Tuesday, September 25th. If you want an all-day bit of entertainment, by all means come. English, social, math, and chemistry, Steve Fode's chemistry class. So there'll be probably at least 150 kids there during the day. Bicyclists are a little more likely to be aggressive, less courteous, and sometimes they make the walkers fearful. But they're less likely to respect the handicapped accessible crush bit paths, and I urge you to make note of that when you sign it, Brad, if you would see that. We urge bicyclists to stay on the handicapped accessible path. I want you to look at least consider looking at the long term, because now it's easy, it's kind of easy. Preserve no bikes. I don't think the community will ever get used to that. And upstream, yes, they can have bikes, but long term, our population will be getting more dense. Will you have to rescind that bicycle issue? I don't know. That's for you to decide. I'm concerned about safety, and from my little corner of the world, I'm concerned about money. And I raised $950,000, and then I quit counting. I know it's over $1 million now, but I quit counting. I was done as far as I was concerned. And I never took any money for it, and I have no desire to take any money for it. To me, this was my effort to add something, something skilled to the planet here in Detroit Lakes, so we would get the attention. And hey, Detroit Lakes has some real environmental stuff going on. I definitely feel, I think I did that. 2 weeks after the preserve opened, incidentally, there was a bus from Richfield there. And the bike paths, like I said, are 10 feet, specs are 10 feet wide. To replace those 2 marsh walks is going to cost $100,000. I don't know if you want to spend that kind of money, but I wouldn't. And I don't want it to be money that I've raised. And visualize persons coming from either direction. Once again, I thank you ever so much. I'm most appreciative for your kindness through the years. And please, please, take care of this pristine 117 acres we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. We have a motion and a second on the table. Is there further discussion by the council?
Mayor, can I just maybe have our Public Works Director, Brad Green, clarify? So when Jay made the motion, you said Greater Sucker Creek, but you were really referring to Upper Sucker Creek, right? So what's the policy right now on the preserve, which is the first piece that was done, Brad?
The preserve on the west side of the road, 290, there's no bicycles, no horses, no skateboard, really. That's the wheel devices on that, and that is signed that way, that is set up that way as a preserve. The creek right now does not ban any more transportation. But part of the park board recommendation was also to bring Sally's point of putting a couple more signs that if you turn across that 5-foot boardwalk, we'll have a sign there stating bicycles must be walked across the boardwalk. And also we'll put signs where you come in from Chapman as part of that motion of saying to stay to the gate that for all type of
Thank you.
Okay, further discussion, questions?
I think we would have definitely taken a look at that, but the way, Brad, can you tell us about the way that the grant was written? I mean, we pretty much allowed bicycles on the grant, and so therefore we couldn't really take it away without being in violation of.
our grant was parks and trails, and as Sally stated, part of our road work stuff, we definitely included the trail. And I did follow up, we brought this up with them here or so, I did follow up with the DNR, and there was no rating. It was rated with the idea of multi-use trail.
I'll just read, I have extracts from the grant application. And the paragraph that Brad wrote was, bicyclers often visit Sucker Creek Preserve. That was before we firmed up the upstream. The parks are on the city's pedestrian and bike trail system. The Heartland Trail from US 10 comes within a quarter mile of upstream and will also connect with Detroit Lake City Trail. There are lots and lots of bicycles.
Okay. Thank you.
And what I was going to say, we did use food and beverage taxman for that, specifically stated for kids doing that bike trail.
Okay. Dan, did you have something?
Yeah, I guess with the whole issue here, my concern is limiting recreation. That's what we're basically doing if we do limit bicycles to any particular park. Why do we want to limit something that can't be, undone easily? Basically we don't have a regulation out there right now, so I guess I don't see a reason to, have a prohibition or a validation of prohibition. It's not broken right now, we're just basically problem in search of an issue.
Okay, further discussion? Jamie?
I agree with Ruth and Sally's comments. I think that also I guess we're concerned that we don't honor the wishes of the person that made it possible. I mean, this is the person that made such a big thing happen. And we don't really met a lot of DMRA or DLCCC, and I think we ought to stick with the plan. I think it was intended as more of a nature park, more of a conservation type setting. I think that's what we should see.
Further discussion? Well, Sally, if you lose this battle, we sure appreciate all your efforts over the years. You've really done well, so, and we love you. So,
I love the
trying to
city
soften the
as I
blow a
love
little bit.
my old man.
Okay, I'm going to call the question. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you again, Sally. Thanks for coming, Ruth. Without objection, Alderman Wenner, I'd like to take items 7A and B, please.
Absolutely, Your Honor. So, item 7A on the Finance Committee's agenda is consideration of approving the winter 2019 rates for Detroit Mountain Recreation Area. The short version is that the committee looked at the rates, recommended approval, and I so move.
Okay. Seconded. Motion has been made and seconded to approve the 2019 winter rates for the Detroit Mountain Recreation Area. Discussion on the motion?
I like the short version.
You'd like what? I'm sorry.
I like the short
version.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries.
And 7B, Your Honor, is basically approving the DLCCC Snappy Park fee agreement for the field use and the concession stand for 3 years, 2019, 2020, and 2021. So, you know, this is the softball diamonds out there. So again, the committee looked at the agreement, looked at the fee, recommended approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the DLCCC Snappy Park fee agreement for field use for 2019 all the way through 2021, right? Discussion on the motion? Bruce?
Just a question, maybe Brad can answer this. Are we making any progress on the past due amount? Not the community center, but there was some past due dollars.
Yeah, and that's included in this. We did it a few years ago, but there's $1,000 that goes directly to pay off the what they had.
Thank you.
Okay. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks for coming, Stu. Without objection, I'd like to go to agenda item 5E under the Community Development Committee agenda.
Okay, this is for consideration of resolution approving a conditional use permit to allow a drive-through at 920 Lake Avenue, known as Bell State Bank and Trust. Larry, you want to give us an update so the council want to know what this is about?
This is a request for a conditional use permit for Bell State Bank to add another drive-through lane on the north side of their property next to First Lutheran Church.
Thank you. And I should mention that this lane is going to be used strictly for an ATM machine only. So the committee reviewed this, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution approving a conditional use permit to allow a drive-through at 920 Lake Avenue, Bell State Bank and Trust. Bell State Bank and Trust, sorry. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. And I believe, sir, that you were here for that item, right?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yep, thanks. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to have me move an item up to accommodate an early exit from this meeting? Hearing none, we'll go back to the top. And I think the top is a series of public hearings, so I'll adjourn the regular meeting and call to order a public hearing to receive public comments on the proposed improvement of curb, gutter, concrete approaches, and sidewalks for 2018. I'll call on our Public Works Director, Brad Green. Brad?
As we notified last year to set the public hearing, we sent letters out to 38 people on, is this concrete or cream?
Concrete.
We sent all the concrete, and I haven't, any questions on it, and not heard from any.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to the issue of the proposed improvements of curb, gutter, concrete approaches, and sidewalks for 2018? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed, and I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the proposed improvements of curb, gutter, concrete approaches, and sidewalks for 2018. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. At this time, I will call to order a public hearing to receive public comments on the proposed abatement of diseased trees for 2018. Again, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to the issue of the abatement of diseased trees in the city for 2018? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed, and I would entertain a motion from the council.
So moved. Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution ordering the abatement of diseased trees for 2018. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. So Brad, on these diseased trees, are we talking about Dutch elm disease or other?
Yes, we are. We deal with, we have been starting to do it with Dutch elm in this last year, and this year, particularly harsh on the elm trees. And I just got 44 lot properties that we sent letter to, plus the city has some. So I believe there's 100-some Dutch elm trees that we've identified this year.
But we're a tree city, so we'll plant a whole bunch more in the spring, right?
We're very good about planting.
Good.
A lot of trees this summer. Fall, maybe first fall.
Excellent, thank you. At this time, I'll call to order a public hearing to give consideration to the granting of an on-sale intoxicating liquor license and Sunday liquor license to TCT Management, which is the Spitfire Bar and Grill at 1100 North Shore Drive, Detroit Lakes. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to the issue of granting those licenses? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed. What are your wishes, council?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to grant an on-sale intoxicating liquor license and a Sunday liquor license to TCT Management doing business as DL Spitfire Bar and Grill. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And we'll go to the Community Development Committee agenda. Ron?
Okay, the first one is 5A, consideration or a second reading and adoption of ordinance number 430 for the annexation of 1 acre or more or less tract of land at 26292 North Tower Road in the Detroit Township and zoning the tract our 1 and 2 family residential homes, Michael and Sarah Phelan. Larry, do you want to kind of give us a little update on this? This is where we got sewer and water in and so forth.
This was a project where the homeowners put in city sewer and water prior to being annexed to the city, and we then encouraged them to hook up or to get annexed to the city so that we wouldn't have to shut off their sewer and water. So they were more than willing to sign up and be part of that, because we usually don't extend services unless they're annexed.
So instead of the carrot, you use the stick. Is that right?
And they're going to be part of the city, so the committee recommends and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to give second reading and adopt ordinance number 430 for the annexation of a 1 acre, more or less tract at 26292 North Tower Road. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion is carried. Second reading is given and the ordinance is adopted.
Next item, 5B, consideration of second reading and adoption of ordinance number 431, amending section 23 of the zoning ordinance relative to violations and penalties. And Larry, do you want to explain what that is for the folks?
This is an amendment to our zoning ordinance that will allow us to use administrative penalties as one of the remedies for violation.
And the importance of this is in the past when our compliance officer goes out, a lot of people seem to drag their feet and it goes on forever, sometimes up to a year. Well, this time, if they don't do within so many weeks or months, there's going to be a violation fine. So hopefully it'll speed up the process and get things done in a quicker way. So the committee recommends and I so move.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to give second reading and adopt ordinance number 431, amending our zoning ordinance relative to violations and penalties. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Hold on 1 second. Sir, did you have something you wanted? The gentleman in the white shirt, is there an item on the agenda I can move up?
I came from the meeting about diseased trees, and I thought it was a special meeting.
Okay. Well, we just actually had that item on the diseased trees. Is there a specific question you had?
Yeah, is the railroad exempt to that they don't have to take down their diseased trees?
No, we send them letters also. It's a little tougher to work with them, but they are notified, yes.
Well, 2 years ago, they cut down 5 trees about 200 feet from my diseased tree, and they're still laying there, stumps and everything.
And what's your address?
1119 West Avenue.
We will have somebody go and check that out, and hopefully we can take care of it for you, okay?
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Ron?
Okay, 5C, consideration to a second reading and adoption of ordinance number 432, rezoning an area from R2 1 and 2 family residence to a B3 auto-oriented business district at 1115 and 1119 Lincoln Avenue. Larry, this is the Essentia parking area, is that correct?
Yeah, this is the 37-space Essentia parking lot. So this will replace the smaller one that they had approved earlier.
Okay, so the committee reviewed this and recommends an so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to give second reading and adopt ordinance number 432, rezoning an area from R2 to B3 at 1115 and 1119 Lincoln Avenue, Essentia Health parking lot. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. And Jamie opposed, okay? Go ahead, Ron.
Okay, I just wanted to point under item H, we had 43 applications for building permits here for July in the amount of $6,687,352. We're having a record year for building permits here in the city of Detroit Lakes. The city's doing very well on that.
Good, I'm glad you pointed that out, because we like that.
We've got item D here, consideration to a resolution approving the final plat of Lake Forest 7th Edition Marty Solomon property. Larry, do you want to say a few words on those?
This is a 13-lot residential subdivision. We are changing the park in that location, so it's no longer the 3.25-acre park, but it will be a 5.5-acre park, and it's up in the northwest corner of the subdivision.
5.5-acre park on the south side of Detroit Lakes. Okay. Okay.
Were you gonna go somewhere with that, or what?
Well, I just want to point that out to Bruce over here.
Okay.
So, but the committee recommends an so move.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the final plat of Lake Forest 7th Edition. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
We have item G there too, but there's nothing, everything's up to date as far as the conditional use of various permits and so forth. That's all there, so.
Very good.
Just it for information.
We'll go to the Public Works Committee. Chairman Sherman.
Item A was just for discussion. We've done item B. So item C, Public Works recommends going with the Park Board's long-range plan. We reviewed the 2018 Park Board's long-range plan, and Public Works recommends approval, and I so move.
Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded to approve the Park Board long-range plan, and that has to do with prioritizing different projects and things, right, Brad?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We weren't going to move motion, but that's fine. You made the motion.
I thought we were going to make a motion on that.
No.
We were just going to leave it alone?
We were just going to let them have their long-range plan.
Okay.
It's recommendation for the park board, which is advisory.
I mean, you can have the motion on there, but then I got to talk to it.
Why don't
I withdraw my, with my motion?
Who seconded it?
And
Will you unsecond that, please?
unseconded that?
I guess so.
And you're going to withdraw your motion?
Yes, sir.
So it's just for informational purposes only, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm on fire today. Wow. I can't talk, I can't. Okay, so let's go to item D. So we got an update on the proposed public works facility, and that was for discussion only. Do we want to have a discussion about that?
I think we just talked a little bit about next steps. The Public Works Committee has worked as kind of our Public Works Building Committee, and we'll probably meet later this month to, again, review what the architect has for some square footages and a basic layout, talk a little bit about financing. We'll discuss that again probably when we meet. And then we also have to still work on finalizing our agreement with the architect, which probably would be on the September council agenda.
Very good. So moving on to item E, consideration to approving the professional service agreement with Schick Engineering in the amount of $1,500 to provide a structural review of the Washington Park Grandstand. Public Works recommends approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the professional services agreement with Schick Engineering for a structural review of the Washington Park Grandstand.
I guess I had a question on this, and Mr. Green, I might point this at you, but we did a review of this a couple years back, correct?
2012.
Okay.
Over 6 years.
Okay. And are we doing this in hopes of bringing it up to par?
Well, again, to give you some background, part of it is driven by the study and stuff. We did look at it in 2012, and it's pretty, this will give a fresh update. We can look at some new pricing and what then the council will decide what we do or not do. And I think we heard the testimony from different people when we showed our Westlake Drive plan that we're concerned about it in public funds. We're just trying to see that we're saving or not. Councilman did hopefully do it this stuff for the public works. But we know it's a tough day, but we do it professionally.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion and a second, right? Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item F, consideration to setting a date and time for a public input meeting for the proposed street and utility improvements on Willow Street and West Avenue. Public Works recommends setting that hearing for Wednesday, September 19th at 5:30, and I so move.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to conduct a public input meeting on September 19th at 5:30 here at City Hall for the proposed street and utility improvements for Willow Street and West Avenue, and those would take place next year? Is that what the plan is? Okay, discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item G requires no action, and that is all for me, sir. Thank goodness.
We'll go back to the Finance Committee, Dan.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We're down to item 7C, which is consideration of a resolution approving the issuance of healthcare facilities revenue bonds by the Duluth Economic Development Authority to refinance a project located in Detroit Lakes, the Essentia Health facility. So, we committee reviewed the proposal and recommended approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve a resolution approving the issuance of healthcare facilities revenue bonds by the Duluth Economic Development Authority to refinance a project located here in Detroit Lakes for Essentia Health. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries.
Thank you, Your Honor. Item 7B is to, we made a commitment of $100,000 to the DMRA for parking lot improvements. $50,000 to come from food and beverage tax, $50,000 from the park dedication fund. We can fund that entirely out of the food and beverage tax. We've got some park improvements that we want to make around the city. So this provides us with an opportunity to do that. So what we're recommending as a committee is that the $100,000 for parking lot improvements come entirely out of food and beverage tax. And I so move.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to reallocating the commitment we made to DMRA for the parking lot improvements in such a way that all the funds will come out of the food and beverage tax instead of food and beverage tax and park dedication fund. Discussion on the motion?
One clarification on that, those dollars are being used as a match for the $1.2 million grant that we got from Legacy Fund, so it's not just $50,000 or $100,000 directly due to amount of use for matching funds for a much larger project.
Yep. And it'll also let us use the $50,000 of what was going to come from the park funds to be used for other parks inside the community, so it gives them a little more money to help with these new park improvements on the south side.
And it sounds like it's gonna be, it sounds like there's gonna be some improvements on the north side too.
I think we get a swing set.
You get a teeter-totter and a swing set, okay?
At least you got a park to put it on.
Dan, you also have a resolution that wasn't on the agenda?
Right, we haven't voted on this one yet, though, have we?
Did we?
No.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, and then I do have an item to add, Your Honor, thank you for reminding me. We have a resolution authorizing signature of the master subscriber agreement for Minnesota government access for governmental agencies. Basically, this allows us to share information, right, Charlie, with the state of Minnesota.
The state of Minnesota court information system now is changing over, and they're requiring that in order to have the prosecutor have access to that court information system, you have to approve and sign on to the subscriber agreement. We've already done this with the police department, and one might think that that would be enough, but no, we have to have a separate one with the prosecutor's office. So we're requesting that the resolution be approved and the agreement be adopted, and allows the prosecutor to have access to court information.
And this doesn't cost us anything.
There is no financial contribution, of course. At this point, you never know with the state, but right now, there's not.
All right. Anyway, committee reviewed, recommended approval, and I so move.
Seconded.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution authorizing signature of a master subscriber agreement for Minnesota government access for governmental agencies. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, we'll go to the Public Safety Committee. Chairman Boki.
8A, consideration of a resolution calling for an election on a sales and use tax for the police facility project. Kelsey, you want to give us an update on that?
Yeah, Mayor and Council, this is the resolution that we've been talking about for probably about 3 years, about looking at the police department and looking at options on how to fund a new facility. And we've talked a lot about going out for a local option sales tax, which requires an election of the voters here in Detroit Lakes, and this resolution would basically authorize that. Our bond counsel and financial advisor has reviewed the resolution. They've also reviewed the bond language, or the ballot language. The only thing I note is we looked at what some other cities have done for ballot language, and their bond counsel has allowed them to be a little more vague in their ballot question. Our bond counsel recommends us be a little bit more specific. And in our talking at the committee, we actually think from a transparency issue, it's helpful to have that language in our ballot question. So again, it specifically states that it's being used for a police department facility. You know, estimated cost is $6.7 million. And I point out that's our estimate for what the cost will be in 2020. So we added a little bit of construction inflation in there. And we also estimate that it'd take roughly 10 years to basically using that sales tax to pay off that cost or earlier. That's the only thing that the sales tax can be used for. So if we generate more sales tax revenue, we'll pay off the bond earlier, and the local option sales tax would go away earlier. Again, it has to be at a general election, so we would have the ballot question at the November general election.
With that being said, we discussed our public safety, and we feel we would like to move this for approval.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution calling for an election on a sales and use tax for the proposed new police facility project. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
8B, consideration of appointing Officer Michael Henneke to the DLPD as recommended by the Police Civil Service Commission. Chief, anything to add on that?
Well, Michael Henneke is a sergeant at the Becker County Jail right now. He's scored top in our application process. He has worked with us during the 4th of July as an auxiliary member through the sheriff's department, and our officers are familiar with him, and they seem to be fond of him, so I think he'll be a good fit.
Thank you. After discussing that of public safety, we would move that ahead as well.
Motion's been made and seconded to appoint Officer Michael Heineke to the Detroit Lakes Police Department as recommended by the Police Civil Service Commission. Discussion on the motion. Bruce?
Matt, when he's supposed to start?
I know according to the chief, we're going to try and work with Sheriff Glander that as he's looking at some staffing issues as well, but I believe you're thinking mid-September to mid-October, Chief?
That's what I was hoping for, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Further discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 8C and 8D, we asked to be removed from the consent agenda, as we felt it was very important, and we wanted to give credit where credit is due for two longtime retiring firemen, Todd George, who has served with us for 22 years, as well as Mark Olson, who has served on the fire hall for 19 years. Chief, please pass along our sincere gratitude for the hours they've missed, the time, family time they've missed out on, so we greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll go to the Liquor Gambling Control Committee. Chairman Jamie.
Consideration of the request for sponsorship for the 18th KDLM Laker Open Golf Tournament on August 17, 2018. We recommend denying the request. We typically don't deny these types of donations, so we recommend deny on it.
Motion's been made and seconded to decline to do a sponsorship for the KDLM Laker Open Golf Tournament. Discussion on the motion? All in favor? Bruce?
My only question is here, call it a donation. Would it be more proper to call this advertising? You got all those golfers out there?
Well, I imagine you could, but there's like 5 or 10 of those requests every weekend.
That was kind of the discussion at the committee level was, we've got all of these that we've already denied. We've denied the Rotary, we've denied Kiwanis, we've denied all these other golf tournaments. We can't really open up that bottle of worm at this point. That's kind of where our thought process was.
Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion's been made and seconded to issue a noise permit to Triple C Ventures doing business as Lakeside for the Rib Fest, which will be held August 25th, 2018, of which I normally get to be a judge. Really good ribs, too. Discussion?
Well, once again, I'd like to point out that the city is firmly behind having events like this in the city, and we've granted noise permits this year for street dances for the firemen, for street dances for JCs that have all been marvelously attended, and we've seemed to have no problem with noise. So just want to call everybody's attention to the fact that the city's promoting music.
Wait a minute, I thought we were against dances.
It doesn't appear so.
Oh.
All right, we're not going to go there, okay? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Can I just add one other item?
Yep.
I'd like just to have Randy talk a little bit about e-calls and the record and those kinds of things. Busy month.
Sure, we're a little excited at the liquor store this year with the recess numbers. We had 482 more customers for the week than we did last year. It had showed a decline from 2014 until this year, so hopefully we're starting to get an upward trend on that. So that produced an extra $20,000 in sales, which is nice to see. We ran some Sunday liquor numbers. So for 1 year, when it started January 2nd, it produced $541,657, which is an average of $41,665 per month, which is about $11,250 a monthly profit. Now, the average day would be about $9,800 plus dollars, $10,000 average, with about a $2,700 profit. So the smallest day we had was 6,000, and the largest is probably tickling 30. So we also looked at the days that we could compare them to from July 2nd until now. And every day except for one has shown plus sales. That's probably averaging $3,000 more than last year's same Sunday.
Okay.
With that,
Thank you, Randy.
that
Anything else, Jamie? Okay. Madeline, there's a couple items on the Public Utilities Commission. Could
There
you
is indeed.
take
The
those?
first one is consideration to approving the purchase of real property, and it gives you the parcel location for a new south electrical substation. And we need to point out that in that purchase agreement, there's also the seller of the property has been granted permissive use to continue to have a garden at that location. So we wanted to make sure that that was in the minutes. Is there anything else we need to? And so the Public Utilities Commission has been involved in this, and we so move that we approve that purchase.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to approve a purchase of real property at the parcel number noted, which is down by the intersections of County 17, 22, and 59. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
The second item is consideration to approving the IBEW union contract for 2018 and 2019, contingent upon the Public Utilities Commission approval tomorrow morning. This has been a long time coming, went to mediation, and we're happy that the union agreed to the new contract, and I so move that we approve that contract.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded to approve the new IBEW union contract for 2018 and 2019 contingent on Public Utilities approval, and they meet tomorrow morning. Discussion on the motion? Bruce?
Madeline, just, what are the numbers, the percentages?
Yeah, the lower 1% market adjustment for 18 and 2.75, or 2.75 for 19, that's parallel with the other agreements that we've had.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have one more item. We
Okey-doke.
would like to introduce Bridget Penton. Is that how we say it? Bridget, would you sign it? She is the new energy services specialist for us, so we're glad to have her aboard.
Welcome. I asked Bridget before the meeting if she had an item that she wanted me to adjust in the agenda, and she said, no, I actually work here now. Welcome aboard. Thanks, Bridget. We need to have a council member do the canvassing for the primary and general election, and Madeline Suki has agreed to do that, so I appreciate that. Madeline, do we have to have any official motion or anything, Kelsey, or what? Okay, can we have a motion to approve Madeline to be our canvasser?
I move that we have
Second.
Madeline be our canvasser.
A motion been made and seconded, discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I don't have replacements for Bruce on the Food Pantry Development Authority. I'll make sure I get that done for September. If you have any interest in either of those, you can sure let me know, and we'll go from there. The term of Cindy Fritz in the Library Board is expiring, and she has already served her 3 terms and not eligible to be reappointed, and I would like to recommend the name of Lynn Hummel to serve on the library board. So I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion's made and seconded to appoint Lynn Hummel to the library board. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I have not talked to Holly yet about the library board. She's eligible, and I will make sure I have a recommendation in September. And also, the term of Dave Carsney on the Police Civil Service Commission is expiring at the end of September, and he is not eligible to be reappointed. So if you have any candidates that you think would do a good job on the Police Civil Service Commission, please let me know. The election positions are noted on under 14A, and also the Budget Committee schedule is noted under 14B. The next joint governance meeting will be held October 2nd, 2018, hosted by Becker County. And we did have our two legislators here, Senator Eakin and Representative Markward, for a luncheon and a tour. And we got a nice card from Representative Markward thanking us for putting together the tour. And I wanted to again thank Bruce Imholt for sort of spearheading that. So thank you, Bruce. Anything else from city staff for the good of the order? Dan, anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, Madeline?
Nothing.
Dan? Jamie? Matt?
No, Your Honor.
Rob?
No, I just want to say, as far as the fire department go, we've had some great volunteers over the year, and you've lost two, and hopefully you'll pick up some more people, but all those people deserve a big pat in the back for the long hours they put in the training on Wednesday nights, and we don't take that job for granted. They do an excellent job, and you do too, Chief.
And now you've got 3 new firefighters coming on, so that'll put you at full staff, right? Okay, cool. Jay?
Ditto.
Anything else?
No, no, sir.